All right. Hello, everyone. Welcome back to the Natural Misfits podcast. I am Relicus. With me today is Locke, LaFane, and Gertrude.
Sup?
Hi.
Today, our topic will be horror, ranging from animation to video games to classic and newer horror movies. So, I think to start it all off, before we get into it, we should each mention how we got into horror and how we first discovered horror. So, Gertrude, shall you go first?
I haven't gotten into it. I just haven't.
Well, what was your introduction?
I don't know. I have. Hold on, I need to refresh myself on what it's called. Uh, where is it? I have Outlast, but like I played it once. That's about it, really.
All right. I just meant what was like your first time ever seeing horror, but all right. Um,
Oh, probably a YouTuber I watched, Jacksepticeye. He played Outlast, and then that's what inspired me to get that.
all
I
right.
got it for free actually with the DLC on Humble Bundle. So free game.
Fane, what was your introduction to horror?
That's about it,
Um,
really.
Unfortunately, my first introduction to horror, I was maybe around 6 years old or so, and my sister decided she was going to show me Texas Chainsaw Massacre.
Ooh,
Oh,
again, oof.
oh.
At 6!
Classic horror movie, but not one you want to watch at that age.
Yeah, no, there's also other things, like she had me watch Leprechaun, what was it? There's also Twister, which, wasn't so much a gory movie, so I still remember loving the part of it with the cow flying by.
All right, and Locke, your introduction?
I was 12, and one of my cousins decided to show me Men in Black.
Well, it's not scary. I think what you're mainly referring to is the frickin' bug, right?
What?
You're mainly when I think of horror of that. Are you mainly referring to the bug?
No, the whole movie.
Oof.
That whole movie scarred me.
I mean, can you watch it nowadays or no?
No.
Well, was it the alien designs that got you?
I honestly don't know, but let's just stick to the fact I can't stand horror. They give me terror nightmares to the point of where I can't sleep for 3 days.
Mm.
All right. Well, my introduction. When I was again a little kid. Me and I was visiting my dad's. Me and my stepsister. We just came back from. I think we just came back from like getting snacks or something. I can't recall. But while passing by, Dad was like watching a horror movie, and he told us not to watch it because I was little. But I don't know why, but I wanted to look. So I peeking from behind the corner, I just watched like these zombies get like blown apart and like trying to attack people and just getting shot up, and I'm just like. I mean, I'm much over it now, but back then I was like legit scared out of my mind after seeing that scene. I don't even know what movie it was.
I do, now that I actually think about it, I do have like the Alien trilogy on DVD somewhere. I got it for my birthday one time. And I did watch those, and those are pretty good.
What are your thoughts on Alien 3, the one on the prison planet?
It's all right. It's not nearly as good as the first two, but I think it's still all right.
Honestly, I've watched the whole extended version, the one with all the extended scenes and everything, and it is really good in my opinion. Like my favorite character, you know who my favorite character was? Do you remember the inmate who was a priest? He saved like Ripley from getting raped.
I only saw the movie once, so I don't remember much.
Yeah, he was like the one he saved her from being gang raped by like three of the others, and like he was like the priest of the group.
Mm.
Ooh, this one might be a notation for people. sensitive subject matter being discussed.
I will put a disclaimer on the thing.
Yeah.
Where was it? Where was it? Okay, yeah. This inmate, like, he's one of the few remaining ones left. There's like 3 inmates left in Ripley. When they need to lead the creature into like a pit where they're gonna pour molten lead on it, he actually volunteers to go down there to distract the creature. And my favorite moment is when the creature is starting to walk towards him, like it's getting ready to tear him apart. He legit just takes off his glasses, puts them in his pocket, and he just cracks his knuckles, like not even caring at the size of that thing. It was a really badass moment, and like even as the creature's tearing him apart, he doesn't even flinch or make a mercy. He just keeps going like, "Come on, yeah, come on, get all you got." And then they pour molten lead on the creature and it dies. But like, it's just I was upset that guy died, but hey, he went out with a freaking bang. But yeah, the reason I want to talk about horror today is literally right before I joined the VC, I actually watched an '80s horror movie that caught my eye.
Which one?
Well, it's called The Prowler. I had
Haven't heard of that one.
I was scrolling through Twitter and I came across this Twitter called Cavity Colors, not sponsored by them, but shout out to them. And apparently they make officially licensed fan-made merch for horror people. And if you want to look at the Monster channel, Gertrude, I actually posted the art that I found that attracted me to it. Yeah, it was an interesting movie, not terrible. Like, the killer wasn't over the top, but it had its problems. Like, overall, it starts off with like near the end, pretty much at the end of World War II. This guy has gotten a letter saying that, look, I know I promised I'd wait, but it's been too long, and I've met someone else, but I hope we can still be friends. Essentially saying like the girl he was waiting for found a new guy. Then we cut to said girl and her new boyfriend at a graduation party. Something's happened, and when they go out alone, as all horror couples do at the beginning, uh, someone sneaks up on them, kills them both with a rake, and leaves a rose in the girl's hand. Then we cut forward about like a little close to 40 years, and the killing has started up again out of nowhere. And it has its like moments where like it has one of those moments from like films in the '80s had where it has subplots and moments, but just drop out of nowhere, or characters that just appear out of nowhere for no reason other than to like save the day. Like one example is we learn about this old man called Major Chapman, who apparently was the girl who was murdered at the beginning. He was her father, and apparently he's been bound to a wheelchair. We literally know barely anything about him. Like, apparently he like peeps on the girls when they're undressing at their dorms. He during the scene when the main female lead first encounters the killer as he's chasing her, like just like walking Terminator style after her. When she gets out of the building, out of nowhere, the old man is there and he grabs her by the arm, like for no fucking reason, never says anything, even when she begs him to let her go, and he rips off some of her dress and she runs off. And we do not see him again at all until near the end of the film. We're focusing on these two kids. Like after at this point, the people have been told about the Prowler, and they're all like staying in the building. These two decide to go down in the basement and get their thing on, and literally the old man is watching them, like, ugh. But it literally does not come back to them at all. Like that's the last we see of them all. Like it never says what happens to any of them. Like, was there deleted scenes where they cut out? Like, what? But anyway, it turns out that at the end, the killer is the sheriff, who, at the beginning, the sheriff leaves to go on a fishing trip, and he leaves his deputy in charge. Then, when they hear about the Prowler, the deputy tries to call the place where he's at, and the guy who answers, who works there, is just a rude jerk who decides not to go even talk to anyone, and just says, "All right, I'll leave a message," blah blah blah, and like he's just a jerk. And here's where the thing gets odd. Like near the end of the film, when they confront the killer in the house, the killer like ambushes the male lead and like knocks him out. And when it looks like he's lifting up the fork, he's about to stab him in the neck. And then it cuts back to the girl, and she's like looking for him. And then when it cuts back to the killer, it just shows his hand locking a door. So I assumed he had killed the male lead and locked his body in a room. So poor guy. And then he and the girl tussle, and she pulls off his mask, and it's revealed to be the sheriff. And actually, wait, before that, when the guy is chasing after her through the house, the killer, there's this weirdo who's like this minor guy in the film. Like he's like supposed to be someone who's a little dim-witted, I think. He works at like a fishing place. When we see him again in the middle of the film, it's when they're investigating something going on at the cemetery. The girl who's winning in the car gets spooked by the guy looking at her through a window for some reason, and we don't see him again until again near the end of the film when the killer is chasing her. Right when he's about to stab her, the guy comes in the door with a rifle and shoots him, and I'm just like, okay, where did you come from? Like, was he following them? Like, what? And for some reason, like, instead of getting away from the body, like you probably should, just to keep us alive, the two are smiling at each other, like in a way, like, you saved me. Yeah, I did. And they don't even notice the guy sitting back up, pulling out a gun, and then shooting the guy who saved her. like no one notices. And so she and him wrestle for the gun, and then finally she takes out the mask as the sheriff, and then in a quick succession, she turns the gun against his head and blows his head apart, and then it fades to black. And then it cuts to next morning, and we see the girl being driven by the deputy, somehow still alive. Like, apparently, like, he wasn't killed. Like, even though it clearly showed the killer raising up the rake to stab him through the neck because he was unconscious. Like, if he wasn't killed, what was the point of that scene? And so she drives her back to her dorm, and for some reason, the first two victims, when the killing spree starts again, are still in the room the whole movie, even with the shower running, and the shower is still running by the time they get back. And so she hears like the shower running. When she goes into the room, she finds their bodies, and it looks like the guy came alive and grabs her, but it's just a hallucination. And she calms down, and that's how the film ends. Like, Like, again, not terrible, but like it had its pacing and cutting issues.
What's that one, like, really old black and white one where like a killer in a roadside motel?
Psycho, Norman Bates.
Yeah, that's the one. I've seen that one.
Good one. That is a great one. Alfred Hitchcock knows how to tell a horror movie. Like, he always said his method is to let audiences know, like, what something's going to happen to ramp up the tension. Like, let them know that there is a killer there. Like, he gave an example of the audience just showing that a bomb is being placed under a table. And then later, it shows two people talking at the table while the bomb is still there. And that's the point of to hype up the tension, like, what's going to happen? Are they going to figure out the bomb is there? Is it going to blow up? What? That in his mind is, like he said, that's the best way to ramp up tension in a scene. And I gotta admit, it makes sense. Like, how the audience knows something is there, but they never know what's going to happen.
Excuse me.
Any particular horror? I guess unless anyone else have any horror movie they know of that they want to comment on.
Not really. Like, that's usually my extent of the genre.
It's like I tend to like some of the stupider ones, so I did find a weird love for like Leprechaun and the others, especially as they got stupider.
I remember Leprechaun in the Hood.
Okay, but like Leprechaun 4, they took him to space.
Oh my god.
They did that with Jason and Jason X.
It's so terrible. It's terrible.
It's a shame because so many horror franchises crashed and burned. Like Friday the 13th, they had to keep making more and more and more. They couldn't just let the killer die. Like, the same with Jason. Like, when it comes to horror, in my opinion, you need to have a beginning, middle, and end at the very least. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
But they have to keep. Go ahead.
No, you go ahead.
And again, that's why I didn't like it how they kept making movies and even kept making the killer supernatural. Though, granted, I will admit, I watched the horror movie Friday the 13th Part 6, which is the first one where Jason becomes an undead zombie. And I will admit, it actually wasn't bad. I will give it that. And it even was the only Friday the 13th film with good reviews. And again, I will admit, it wasn't bad, but again, they were just milking a cow dry at that point.
Yeah.
Like, again, like Jason Takes Manhattan, Jason Goes to Hell. Like, at one point, just kill the guy and leave the franchise alone. Just work on work on something else. Like, again, like, nothing against the actors themselves. Like, Robert Englund is a great horror actor. And, again, I will admit, when they were bringing back Halloween in 2018, I had my worries. Like, is it going to be undead? Is it going to do it? But they said it literally takes place after the first film, 40 years later. And John Carpenter was back to work on it, and so I watched the film, and it was a great film. Like, they never made him Michael was still just a regular killer. Like I don't know if any of you saw the new Halloween.
Nope.
Yeah, it was really good.
Yeah.
Like the confrontation between like the girl and Michael again, like it was great. And no new horror movie. There are very few horror movies nowadays that are being made that ever capture the feeling as the old classic ones. Though there are the exceptions, like example, A Quiet Place Part 1 and 2. Either any
Yeah.
of you ever, like that was those were good.
I think this is the first one.
Yeah, they were really good. Get Out and Us, they were really good. Like by Jordan Peele, like those were really good films.
Yeah. But back on the terrible, like kind of the just terrible horror movies that I love, the Tremors series.
I've seen one of those.
The what series?
Tremors.
Tremor? Oh, I remember. I actually like the first one, honestly. I do like the first one.
I've seen the old, I've seen, like, the original Dracula movie.
Oh, with Bill.
I don't know if
Bela
that counts
Lugosi?
as horror these days, but I've seen it.
I guess Universal horror. Like, I don't know if The Invisible Man would count as horror, like the original one. Oh, speaking of The Invisible Man, I also saw the Blumhouse one, like the one that came out in 2018. That one was really good.
I didn't see that one. Just because I'm usually not interested in the genre.
They actually made a good idea of how he's invisible. Like, there was always a plot hole in the original version, like he experimented on himself and made himself completely invisible, when that wouldn't work, because if his eyes were completely invisible, he would actually be blind.
Yeah, the photons would pass through instead of hitting the receptors.
Yeah, he'd be blind. So what they did in the new one is the guy wears a suit with cameras around it that actually bend the light. And that's actually true. And so he actually can wear a suit and still move around, and that's how he's invisible. Like, is when she's like in the hospital, because of course people are thinking she's crazy for seeing someone invisible. But when she realizes he's there, he kills the security guard, and of course she tries to run from him. But then she tries to get out in the hallway, but the guards get after her. And when they try to drag her back to her room, he starts killing all the guards one by one in the hallway. Like, it's a huge scene. Like, two come in, like, he takes out the two of them. Two more come in. One gets knocked out of nowhere. Another one is grabbed and slammed against the window. One guy tries to pull his gun out, but the invisible one grabs him and makes him shoot himself in his leg before knocking him out. Like, it's a really tense-filled scene. Like, I will say, my favorite part is at the end when he's at the last guard and he's holding his gun up to the guy's face. He doesn't do anything, but you just hear him say, "Bang!" And as he walks away, then he turns around and shoots him. Like, it was a really good scene. I guess another good classic is like, do you remember any of you ever seen Nosferatu?
Have not seen
it. Remember what?
Nosferatu. Did you ever see that original film?
I've seen that one actually.
Yeah. Fun fact: the vampire himself is not called Nosferatu. That's not his name.
I believe Nosferatu is more named for the creature.
Yeah, but that's not his real name. The vampire in that movie, his actual name is Count Orlok. Well, yeah, like I guess we've covered all the horror movies we can think of. I mean, there were other slasher films out there. Like there was one called My Bloody Valentine. Oh, wait, the Chucky series, Child's Play.
Yeah, my sister, and as you heard, I was watching horror movies at like a young age because of her. Her son, she had 3 kids. Her son looked like the Chucky doll, and they played it up.
I do remember. I gotta say, the Chucky films, to my surprise, most of them are honestly genuinely really good. Like you don't really see that in any horror film series these days. Like I know right now they're working on the series, like the original guy. He's still working on a TV series continuation of the latest film. And I don't know any of you. Did any of you see the remake in 2019 that had Mark Hamill as Chucky?
I didn't know he voiced him.
Yeah, he played
Yeah, I
him
didn't
once in
realize
like
it was him.
yeah, he played him once in only in the remake, but he also played Chucky once in Robot Chicken. Yeah, he wasn't terrible, but just something about the original guy I will admit was much better as Chucky, but Mark wasn't terrible either. That one is more like it's not a guy possessed by a doll. It's more like a toy AI gone rogue.
Huh.
Yeah. And it was all right. Not as good as the original, I will admit, but it wasn't terrible. Um, any other horror movies anyone can remember?
Not really.
Would Silence of the Lamb count as a horror movie?
I think
I
it
believe
is.
Yeah. Yes,
If
it
any,
is.
in any case, and that one was a good one too. Like Hannibal, Anthony Hopkins was really scary as Hannibal Lecter. Like I think the best scene in the film is the one where he escapes the police at the end. Any others are? I can't think of any memorable ones. Oh wait, I did see. Did anyone see that? Hear about that one called The Black Phone? Or was it that? About the kid who gets kidnapped by this guy. He's locked in a room, but there's a black phone that he can call, and the people who answer are actually the spirits of the other victims.
I don't believe so.
Yeah, like it was a really good film. Like it was based off a short story. Um, Ethan Hawke was the villain. Okay, now that I think about it, other good horror films I remember is I don't know if any of you heard of this one, The Witch and The Lighthouse.
no.
Both done by director Egger. I forgot his name. I think Robert Eggers. When he made those films, I can't deny this guy. When he makes films based on like certain time periods, he does so much research into the film, like how they talked back then, what they wore, how the houses were made, how they lived, everything. Like the first one is about a family a Christian family who gets terrorized by a witch in the woods. And then the second one, called The Lighthouse, focuses on 2 men, Willem Dafoe and Robert Pattinson, when they're stranded on a lighthouse and they start to go mad. And right now he's working on not a horror film, but like like a historical film based on a Viking. It's like a Viking revenge film. I've showed you the trailer. Would you say it looks pretty badass?
Trailer for what?
The Northman, the Viking who
Oh,
wants revenge.
hell yes.
Do you guys want to see the trailer?
Well, we should probably show that to them later.
Well, I'm just gonna post it in the chat.
Okay.
Hey guys, I'm posting it in general. Like, check out the trailer and like let me know what you think. Um, also, speaking of the lighthouse, there's actually a scene that's like 2 minutes where Willem Dafoe's character actually puts a curse on the guy for disliking his cooking. Yeah, it's. I guess the this like the atmosphere in that scene is just like really good. Yeah. You guys watching? Do you guys watching it, or do you want to talk about anything else?
I'm just kind of playing some TF2 while I'm in the call.
Oh, okay. Well, I guess we could talk about video games then.
Yeah, I mean, there are lots of good horror video games if you want to keep it in the theme.
I mean, yeah. Okay, how about this? What was the first horror video game you guys ever came across?
Ooh.
Outlast.
Mm. That
For
one.
me,
Go ahead.
my first horror game was Slender Man. If you remember that.
A classic. A classic.
I remember trolling people that were streaming it on Twitch. It was very wonderful. I mean, I'm a very friendly person in chat and everything, and oh, you seem so scared. Why don't you let me in on Skype and I'll sing to you and help make it better?
What did you see the Slender Man theme song?
There wasn't one at that time. I'm talking about the original Slender Games phase. But you know, I get in there and get them comfortable with talking with me and everything, and we're all on stream and ring around the road.
Oh yeah, those.
I gotta say, I really love the aspect of Outlast with like the found footage and how like you're on the run from all those inmates.
Yeah.
The scariest inmate was definitely the remember Chris Walker, the little pig. Do you remember him? He was like the huge fat one.
I think so.
Like he would rip your head off if he caught you.
Yeah.
I do one of my favorite moments. My first stint with Outlast is when I was watching YouTuber Dashi play it, like Dashi Games. And my favorite, what I always loved about it, whenever he saw Chris Walker, he would, since he called him Little Pig, Dashi nicknamed him Picky Dude. Like, oh shit, it's Picky Dude. What did you like better? What did you think of the second Outlast, Gertrude?
I never played the second. I played Outlast and then the DLC Whistleblower. I did see Jacksepticeye play. I saw him play the second game, but I never played it myself.
Yeah, the first game, like to catch you guys, for those who don't know it, the first game focuses on you're a guy called Miles Upshur who gets a tip off of someone about illegal experiments going on at an asylum. So
yeah,
you arrive,
that's yeah.
Yeah, you
Your
arrive
character
there.
is the yeah.
Yeah, you arrive there, but you learn that pretty much 90% of the staff have either evacuated or have been killed, and all that's left are the inmates. And yeah, they are not happy to see you.
Yeah.
Well, I mean, one thing I like how that you never know is they put inmates in every room, nearly every room, but it always leaves their behavior unknown. Like some may follow you, others may just ignore you, but you never know.
Yeah.
I remember like there was like Chris Walker. He's the guy who would always chase you.
He's Wiggly Wiggly.
There's Rick Trager. I don't know if you remember him, the guy who cuts off your fingers. Like there's this crazy inmate called Trager who he's cutting up body parts of people to sell on the black market. And when he captures you, he takes 2 of your fingers.
No, I need them.
Like how am I supposed to count to 10?
I mean, there's options of toes too, but that takes more time.
Yeah.
You gotta take off your shoe.
What I think the creepy thing about him is how he's introduced to you. Like when you're being chased by this group, someone sends down a dumb waiter for you to use to like help you. But when you get there, it's Trager, and he's like, "You made the right choice here, buddy." And when he knocks you out, like he puts you in a wheelchair, he literally talks all calmly and like even friendly to you. Like Hey, you don't look so. Hey, I know you. You're that little shit priest guy, aren't you? His witness or whatever. But you look tired. You want to take a break, huh, buddy? The old 2 martini lunch? Like, it is really
Oh
creepy.
yeah, the fucking doctor.
Yeah, him. And the fact that he was booty ass naked except for an apron and the glasses.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, and the mask.
Always gotta
Um,
wear a mask when doing surgeries.
what else? There were the. Oh, do you remember the freaking twins?
Oh yeah,
Like the guys who were butt naked and they were so silent when they snuck up on you. There was what other? Oh, I mean, there was that pyromaniac, but he wasn't really a villain. He was just. Do you remember that
he was
guy? He was
just
the guy.
there.
Yeah, he was. Actually, no. When you think about it, he was honestly one of the more sane inmates out there because he knows about the experiments. Like he said, I had to burn it. I burned it all. They took so much from us. Like he actually knew what was going on.
Yeah.
But of course, when you put out the fire, he gets angry and temper, and he just runs away. But yeah, like then you learn the more you go into it, there's this mysterious ghost that you sometimes see throughout the game, and it later turns out it's not a ghost at all. It's nanomachines being controlled by this guy called Billy. And so at the end of the game, you need to get rid of the wall rider. You have to kill its host. So you do that, but guess what happens? The wall rider chooses you as its new host. And so when you're limping away, oh, by the way, when you're being chased by, and you find an underground lab, and when you're being chased by the wall rider, you come across Chris, and he tries to kill you one last time, but then the wall rider
Oh
kills
yeah.
him. It kills him. Um, But yeah, like after the wall rider goes inside of you, you're like limping away. You're trying to get to the exit. When you open the door, you meet the scientist who you encountered before, who's the guy behind all the experiments, and some security guys, and they gun you down. And as the screen goes to black, the scientists realize, God damn it, you have become the host, and you hear them being massacred by the wall rider.
Oh yeah, the wall rider gets them.
Yeah, and then when they got whistleblower, we actually play as the guy who sent you that information, Waylon
Yeah.
Jones. No, not Waylon Jones. That's the Killer Croc. Waylon Smith. And the game starts off shortly before the outbreak breaks out, and you meet the CEO of the company, Jeremy Blair, that asshole, and they forcibly subject you to the torture machine like the other inmates are going through. But that's
Yeah.
right as that starts. That's when that's when the inmates break out. Oh, and we're introduced to 2 new crazy inmates. One, do you remember the guy, the freaking cannibal? He has like the
Hmm.
buzzsaw.
Oh yeah, yeah.
Like you see him eating a dead body, like oh. But no, the most disturbing. Remember the groom, the guy who wanted to make you his bride. Do you remember him, Gertrude?
Oh yeah. Him.
He's like
Yeah.
darling. Like, he's so creepy. Like when you first see him, he's like darling, and when you're hiding from him, he's like, "Did I frighten you? I'm terribly sorry. I didn't mean to. We've met before, haven't we? I know I've seen your face." Like he's talking all smooth and gentleman-like. It's really creepy. And like you know why he's called the groom?
Why?
He needs to make a bride, but in order to have a woman, he needs to remove a few undesirable parts of you. I think you know what I mean.
Yep.
Yeah.
Yeah, that almost happens, but then like an inmate from out of nowhere attacks him and gives you a chance to escape. But boy,
Yeah.
howdy, he was the creepiest one.
Yeah. I don't like him.
I remember, for a fun fact, on Valentine's Day, the actor of him actually did like a Valentine's Day message on the YouTube channel. Did you know that?
I didn't actually.
Yeah, like the guy who played Trager, the doctor, did like a Christmas greeting to everyone, and then like in Valentine's Day, the guy who played the groom just did like a
Hmm.
happy anniversary, darling. Like it was creepy. But yeah, the point of Outlast 2 is you're a cameraman named Blake, you're and your wife who are reporters, you're investigating the mysterious death of a girl in the Arizona desert. But then something causes your helicopter to crash.
Yeah.
And when
Yeah.
you
Like
wake up,
I know I know what it's about. Like I just
I'm
haven't
telling
played it.
I know, just telling Jesse and Locke.
Yeah.
Me.
But yeah, when you wake up, not only is your wife missing, but the pilot has been crucified. And then you later learn, like, there's these people, there's this remote village that you come across. Well, apparently they're called the Testament of the New Ezekiel. They're like a doomsday cult, and they guess what makes it bad for you and your wife. They think you and your wife are the parents of the Antichrist.
Hmm.
So they're trying to kill you. And somehow, apparently, your wife is pregnant.
Oh,
And,
yeah.
but that would later all be
The
explained.
quote-unquote demon baby or something
Yeah,
like
yeah, and
that.
the comics actually explain it. There is a comic that actually is in between both games that actually explains what's going on. It's revealed that this cult are also another experiment of Murkoff, the company from the asylum. They're actually using some kind of with similar technology with the wall, rather they're using like a radio broadcast to fuck with their minds. But it also causes people to hallucinate and everything. Like the baby isn't real.
Yeah.
And the reason, like, do you remember how, like, near the end of the game, when you're trying to escape, there's like a storm going on that's destroying the town?
Yeah.
Guess what's caused that?
I don't remember.
In the comics, the Wall Rider had escaped and like has been switching from host to host. The Wall Rider is now at the point in the time of LS2. The Wall Rider had taken over a colony of ants, and they came across the radio device and started chewing through it and destroying it, which is what causes the storm and all like that supposed explosion at the end.
I see.
Oh, a really fucked up thing is that you feel bad for the guy. You see flashbacks to when he was in school as a kid, and remember that frickin' priest? Like, don't you remember, Rob? There's that demon who sometimes follows you around, like the demon with lots of arms, so without a jaw. And it's actually the priest who killed your friend when you were a kid.
Yeah.
Yeah, that was really messed up. Like, really messed up. But yeah, from right now, they're currently doing a third game. And it's supposed to be co-op, but not only that, it's a prequel to the first game. It takes place in the 60s, I believe. Yeah, from what I hear. And that's Outlast. Any of you guys want to talk about a video game any horror video games?
Not really.
I can't really think of any.
My introduction with horror games, I think, was Left 4 Dead 2, actually.
Oh, I remember Left 4 Dead.
But
I never played those games.
Over my fear of zombies. Specifically, I figured out I'm still terrified of the half rotted, like been around just long enough for like the decay and everything.
But if they're like fresh zombies that still look like normal people, you're cool with it.
Yeah, the infected ones don't terrify me near as much.
But the deformed monster ones. Like remember the freaking tank. I remember
the tank. No.
Oh, I remember Alien Isolation.
Oh yeah, I've seen Mark play that.
I actually saw excuse me. I remember I think the two most famous Slender games are the 8 Pages and The Arrival.
Yeah.
I gotta say, The Arrival had an engaging story. There actually was another Slender game I played called Slender's Woods that actually has a pretty decent story. It focuses on a guy living alone in the woods before he's pretty much stalked and killed by Slender Man. I saw the Slender.
I never really cared much about the Slender games.
I saw the Slender movie. Oh my god, it was so bad. It was terrible. The only good parts of the film, I will admit, are the only parts that have Slender in it, and that he literally only has 2 minutes throughout the whole film.
Yeah, it's not good. It's not a good movie.
Again, the only good parts are the parts where Slender actually appears, and he even has a cool design. But other than that, it's a terrible movie. Like, one example being, like, when these girls first hear about Slenderman, they think it's a joke, so they read up the stories. Yet, right as they finish reading the story, they act like they're actually scared of what they just witnessed. Like, wouldn't it make more sense for them to actually laugh it? It would have made more sense if they laughed it off, saying it wasn't real, and then the Slenderman hunted them down one by one, because that's how it usually works. He goes after people who doesn't believe in him. Actually, I think it's either who don't believe in him, or he goes after people who he knows have been researching him.
Yeah.
I think that's what it is. There was a really good short film called Vince, which was about Slender Man driving a regular guy insane, and becoming one of his proxies. And it actually was really good. Like, one of my favorite shots is he's being in trouble by Slender Man, and he and his wife are out to dinner, and he talks about Slender Man to her. And then she's like trying to reassure him. He's staring at something behind her, and Slender Man is literally in the seat right behind her, staring at him. Like, another good shot is when he can't sleep at night, he decides to go out for a drive. When he gets into the car, he switches on the lights. Slender Man is literally right in front of the car. Like, it's really well set up. I guess. The Thing.
Yeah.
You guys remember The Thing?
Oh, I thought you said the Fanes.
No. Yeah, The Thing. You were in the horror movies. But no, like, do you guys remember The Thing?
I remembered the name, but I think I watched Dead Meat do a kill count for it.
I remember now. My grandparents introduced me to The Thing because my grandpa actually loved the movie because of, like, the special effects they did for it, and he actually showed me a scene. He showed me the scene where the creature is attacking the dogs. Like the poor dogs. They didn't deserve that. Yeah, if I recall, the way that they fixed for the creature was not only costume but very early CGI, which I thought was really well done. The Alien movies were really good. Did any of you ever see the prequels like Covenant and Prometheus?
I've seen Prometheus.
What did you think of it as a prequel? Like, did you think it was good?
It was all right. Not my favorite of the movie series, but it's all right.
I think one question is why the frick, when they awaken the thing called the Engineer, like apparently the creature who made the human race, why did he start freaking attacking them? Like, they didn't really give any explanation. Like, why did the creature who they've been looking for, and apparently this creature species is responsible for the creation of their race, why did he start killing them?
I don't know. That movie tends to be confusing for a lot of people.
Yeah, and when they made Covenant, like when they were showing the early stages of, I thought when we were gonna first see our first chest burster, I thought it was gonna look like the slug from the first movie. No, it's a CGI tiny xenomorph.
Yeah, I don't think it's even technically a xenomorph. I think it's something else.
No, legitimately, the thing that comes out of the guy's chest, and I'm talking about in Covenant, not in Prometheus. Yeah, and I remember at the end of Prometheus, there's that thing that comes out of the engineer's back that has a pointy head.
Oh yeah.
But in Covenant, when we first see what looks going to be like a chest burster in that scene in the Covenant, it's not even a slug thing like in the movie. It's a legit CGI tiny xenomorph. Like
yeah.
Like, what the heck?
Small as Babby.
It looks so stupid. I mean, we also learned that the engineer's people have been wiped out by that android played by Michael Fassbender. I think his name was Dave. No, I think it was Michael.
Right. Since we're still on the horror genre, there are a few things horror that I actually do like. One that I watched when I was in high school was a series called Elfenlied. Has anyone ever heard of that?
Oh, I know Elfenlied. Boy, howdy, that show did not throw its punches.
No, it didn't.
Especially the backstory with the girl and the freaking puppy. Oh.
Ugh.
I mean, those kids had it coming, but oof.
What's a
Like,
horror
that was-
anime you guys all like?
Anime?
I don't know
Yeah.
if it's called an anime, but
I don't think I've seen any horror anime.
there is.
I
Same.
think you have actually. I think you might
I have? Maybe. Maybe. Not that I can think of off the bat.
Danganronpa.
No, I haven't seen that actually.
I've been watching the Gay Ghosts play it, and their playthrough is pretty freaking hilarious.
Hellsing Ultimate. Anyone?
What?
Has any of you ever seen Hellsing Ultimate?
I saw the abridged version, which is fucking funny.
Well, Helsing does count. I have seen a few episodes of that.
I have seen an anime. I don't know if it is called anime, but it's called Yamishibai. It's where like it has I forgot what it's called. The Japanese storytelling where it's like paper, how they do it with paper and puppets. I forgot what it's called.
Yeah, I know what you're talking about.
I think. But yeah, like, and each horror story focuses on like it's an anthology series, like different horror like things, and it's really scary. Like each like in the beginning, in the first few seasons, they're each based off of like urban like horror legends from Japan itself.
Sorry.
There's a series that I still refuse to watch. I tried to watch it, but I just couldn't. But I don't know if you guys have seen it. Tokyo Ghoul.
Oh, I haven't watched that in a long time.
I know of it. I never saw it.
I think I only watched the first. I've only watched the first season. I have also seen. I don't know if this was kind of. I don't know if it would count as horror. What about The Boys? Locke, would you count that as horror?
I don't think so. I think that's just violence.
More thriller.
Yeah.
Yeah, more like violence and thriller.
Speaking of The Boys, I am so excited for season 3 coming in June. I really do like The Boys. I really enjoy it. Honestly, I like it better than the comic. No, I mean, no offense to the guy who wrote the comic, but the comic, many of the characters in the comic were just so one-dimensional.
There's one other horror series. Well, it's not like complete horror, but it's like still in that genre that I absolutely love, but not many people have ever heard of or even know about.
What's it called?
It's called Ghost Hunt.
Ghost?
I think I've heard of it.
And basically, what the series is an orphan high school girl accidentally breaks a very expensive camera of a ghost hunter and injuring his assistant, and so she takes on the position of assistant in order to pay back the damages. And when that is over and done with, she was hired on permanently, and it's basically a slice of life where they done in like 3 to 4 episode like group episode arcs. And they just like go to houses and try and find out how it's haunted, why it's haunted, and how to like fix it.
I remember. I don't remember Goosebumps.
It's actually really good.
I read a lot of the books. I never saw any of like the show they had.
The show was honestly pretty shitty in several cases. But
I
there
never
were good
saw
episodes.
I never saw the shows, but they did used to have like the older Goosebumps movies, and I used to read a bunch of the books.
I watched. There was the one on Nickelodeon. Was it Nickelodeon? Does I remember? Does anyone ever heard of Oral Signs: The Haunting Hour?
I never heard about that.
That was a show where it was honestly actually very dark. Like an example being, in nearly all the episodes, the bad guys won. They actually the villains actually won in majority of the episodes. Like most of the episodes even ended with the protagonists being killed. Yeah, like it was a genuinely scary thing. Like an episode I remember most was called I I forgot what it was called, shark pool, because this guy who's like afraid of water, he has like a phobia of water because he learned in the past while he was at a beach with his dad and mother. I think it was his dad, only his dad because his mom passed away. When he was at a beach once with his dad, someone saw a shark and he got trampled in the water. He survived, but while he was underwater, the shark swam up right next to him, but didn't attack him, but just
Hmm.
swam right next to him. And he ever since then he's just scared of the water. But one day
Huh.
he starts seeing what actually looked like a shark in the pool. He starts seeing fins going around, and of course, no one believes him. And like his dad, I remember his dad works at the school too. But of course, one day he has nightmares about it, and one day he finally decides to deal with it, and
Hmm.
he goes into the pool with a makeshift spirit. He gets ready to kill a shark, and he actually does see a shadow of a shark, but out of nowhere something pulls him down, and you think, "Oh God, has he been eaten?" Because you don't see him in the pool. But then out of nowhere, the shark fin comes up, but there's another one with him, and guess what? It turns out it is
Hmm.
the shark he was seeing was his dad, and the second shark is him. They actually
Huh.
they're not regular people. They're an ancient from their culture. They're not from there. I can't recall what their culture was. I think it was supposed to be Maui based. Maori.
Hawaiian
Huh.
something.
I can't recall. But yeah, they're actually half shark, half human. Like what they are is when they're in the water, they look like sharks.
Huh. Interesting.
Yeah. My favorite moment is when he finally decides to challenge the bully. He's been messing with him to a swim race. He actually turns into the shark and scares the fuck out of the guy who runs away. And it ends with him, like, he finally gets the girl. She asks if he'll take her for a swim. And he's like, well, I just ain't. She's like, I'll take my chances. And they just dive into the water, and that's how the episode ends. Like, that was one of the better, that was one of the, like, that more peaceful episodes. But
Hmm.
compared to other episodes, like, holy crap, they would get dark fast. Like, again, like, very few people ever, like, there's one about called The Scarecrow, where this family, they start seeing the scarecrow everywhere, and the more they see it, more people disappear. And like the two sisters disappear by the end, and when the guy confronts this mysterious guy who's been selling scarecrow parts, he reveals
Yeah.
that this is how the world ends. Like everyone in the world at that point has been turned into a scarecrow,
Huh.
and the guy says this is how the world ends: a very gentle quiet, no bang, no big boom, nothing, just a gentle quiet. And then he turns into a scarecrow, and there are two endings to this. The first ending is the brother, who's like the only person pretty much left alive in the world, most likely, he burns the original scarecrow out of as payback for what he did to his family. The second one is the second ending is alternate ending is he becomes a scarecrow himself, enjoys the scarecrow and its peace and quiet.
Huh.
Yeah, but again, that show was not afraid to get dark. Um, I can't think of any other good horror shows. Oh wait, I don't know if it would count as horror. What do you think of what would you count it as? Like Ash with Ash? Like
I think that's more like action.
action horror. I would call it.
It definitely does have elements of horror, but
They really ramp up the comedy in the sequels. Like the third one where he goes back to the time of King Arthur. Like I remember at the end of the second one, he goes back in time to like the point of King Arthur at the end of the second one. When he sees a demon flying by, like he's surrounded by knights, and when he sees a demon fly by, he shoots it, and the knights are just like huzzah, huzzah! They like make him they like dub him the demon slayer. But they changed that for the beginning of the third movie, where instead he's captured by the knights. And yeah, but I have to say, the reason I love the third one so much is when like the villain is like an evil version of himself, and he has a bunch. He's an army of skeletons that's slowly stop motion puppets and like regular skeleton puppets. Like my favorite moment is like the skeletons themselves are really freaking hilarious. Like when you first see them, they're like when they're marching towards the castle to attack it. You see some skeletons like playing flutes. Like one is on a bagpipe. And they had such doopy voices. Like when they're being defeated, one guy's like, "Retreat, retreat," and you just one skeleton just comes across the scene going, "Let's get the hell out of here!" It is so funny.
It's like when it comes to games, I do like some of them, though the majority of them I haven't played. Such as things like Amnesia or Penumbra,
Oh,
or
Amnesia was good.
mhm. Or also like it is going to sound kind of, you know, it's newer and a lot of people don't like them for this or that, but I did like the Five Nights games.
Oh, I love the Five Nights games. They're like one of my favorite games. I felt
I
it
still
was sad to hear
enjoy.
that. Go ahead.
I said I still enjoy watching Markiplier's playthroughs every now and again.
I am the king of Five Nights at Freddy's. I was so upset to hear when Scott left. But I mean, he's still a consultant for the series, but he's just going to spend more time with his family.
I'll admit, I may have became a nerd and made my own FNAF OC.
Nerd.
She even made me a FNAF OC. I already have a FNAF OC in mind. She just drew him. What was your from everyone around here who was, whether you played Five Nights at Freddy's or not, what was your favorite game? Lorraine?
What?
What was your, whether you played it or not, what was your favorite FNAF game?
Oh, favorite one. I think it ended up to watch it and everything was Sister Location, actually.
Okay.
I know it's
No.
gonna sound weird. I really liked Ballora, even though I know she's not the fan favorite.
All I see is an empty tomb.
I like Security Breach.
Oh, of course.
What about you, Gertrude?
Sorry, what was that? I didn't quite hear.
What's your favorite FNAF game?
I haven't played any of them. I'd say the first one, I think.
Yeah, honestly, the first one always is the scariest in my opinion. I remember,
and then they increased the stress with the second one because there's so many more.
Yeah, like 11, and then we have Spring. I actually like Springtrap. I'm not gonna lie. When I saw Springtrap, I liked his design in the third game, but when I saw him in Pizza Simulator, it looked so freaking stupid.
Yeah, didn't care too much for his design there. And then it seemed like they were trying way too hard in 4.
Yeah.
Sorry, squeaky hiccup. But there was another game I was going to mention, and I'm trying to think of what it was. Yeah, it's not really horror game as in horror game, but it kind of fits. One of my absolute favorites is Not Scary to Play, because it's Stubbs the zombie and Rebel Without a Pulse. You are the zombie. Have fun, stay safe, eat brains.
Oh my god, I remember there was like a game Markiplier played, like you were like a zombie who was forced to complete in like this kind of like wipeout course to save your friend. Like I think it was Ed the Zombie.
No, I don't know what that is.
I remember. Oh, remember Dead Rising?
I know of it.
I think a factor for Dead Rising is the comedy that comes with it. Like if you change your clothes, or when you make those makeshift weapons that are really cool. Like one of them is in the second game. One of them is like a regular teddy bear that you can strap an assault rifle to and have it shoot at zombies.
Hello, hello.
Hey, Sam.
Hey.
We were discussing favorite horror movies, games, and series.
If you'd like to join. Yeah, yeah, the Dead Rising games are pretty good. The Psychopaths. I think another defining thing of it were the Psychopaths. Like some that you felt bad for, others that were just butt shit crazy. Like in the first game, there was a freaking clown with chainsaws. Can't think of anything else horror game like. I mean, there's the horror games from Markiplier's Three Scary Games. Oh wait, no, the Bendy and the Ink Machine.
Oh, yeah, Bendy's a good one.
Mm.
Though I had to laugh at Game Theory's, having to come back and look at things again, and I'm just sitting there like, bro, you didn't recognize this at the beginning? What?
Another brand new one, Poppy Playtime.
I haven't looked into that one, but I've seen some horrifying artwork for it.
Like, you remember Poppy Playtime, right? Lock?
Oh, yeah.
Too bad Poppy Playtime got into NFTs.
Oh, right, and it really went downhill after that.
Yeah, it did. Yes, Grandma?
Welcome back, Sam. You guys hear me now? You are very faint, and you sound like you are very faint, Sam, and you sound like you're talking through a radio.
All right, I'll see you later.
Oh, well, damn. Hang on. Yeah, I mean, I can hear what you're saying. You're coming through, but again, it's very faint and sounding like a walkie-talkie.
I mean, you could always put in a picture whenever they speak up and just have a picture of a walkie-talkie on there.
No, Sam, do a phone guy impression. Sam, if you can hear me, do phone guy from FNAF.
Huh?
Do phone guy from FNAF. The hello.
Oh my god, no. Can you guys hear me better now, though?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Damn it. I wanted you to do it while you were sounding like a walkie-talkie. That would have been perfect. That would have been perfect.
But I was going to say, if you guys want to play a horror game, Agony will mentally scar you, and Dante's Inferno will leave you with many, many phobias.
Oh, wait, what about, there's a horror game we haven't covered. Silent Hill.
I don't want more phobias. I have too many. You guys can have them.
I'm telling you right now, though, Agony made me sick to my stomach. That is how bad it was. Horrifyingly, graphic. And then, what was the other one? There's Dante's Inferno, of course, but Hellblade. Have you guys ever played Hellblade?
Hellblade.
Shameless Sacrifice?
I heard Hellboy at first. Like, there's a new Hellboy game?
So, Hellblade is a fantasy / Viking type game that simulates somebody having a schizophrenic breakdown, essentially. You hear voices whispering all around you. If you wear headphones, it's like 3D, and you hear it's almost realistic to the point where you're not sure if it's the game or not. It's really creepy.
I can't relate to that because I can't relate to it because I have heard voices like that before.
It's that would not bother me at all, considering I'm already schizophrenic.
I thought I was going crazy for a moment because it took me a moment to realize that it was actually part of the game.
Honestly, I'm in the same boat with Jesse. I've heard voices like that, and they are not fun.
Here's the thing, though. In the game, though, it's realistic to the point where it's not like they don't make it obviously part of the game, or story. It's just you'll hear a whisper in your ear especially since I wear a headset. You'll hear a whisper saying, "You're not good enough,"
or the "You're worthless," stuff like that.
Very, very low, very faint, just enough to audibly hear it, but not enough to pin where it came from. And for a moment, am I going crazy?
And if I could do a game like that, I would. If I could do a game like that, you know what I throw in as a joke now and then? Now and then in the whispers, you would hear someone go "What's the Wi-Fi password?"
Oh my god!
Have you got any change?
No, not Jerry.
Would you like to talk? Hey, we got free real estate.
And then, of course, there's Dead Space.
Oh, Dead Space. What was your opinion? Which one was the scariest?
I never played the others. I own them, but I've only ever played one, and I didn't even get that far.
I think the scariest, in my opinion, gotta say it's a tie between 1 and 2.
Mm. There were a few. There was one other game. I'm trying to remember what it was off the top of my head. It was a PlayStation 1 game. Shadow Man. The Shadow Man.
Shadow?
Yes, the Shadow Man.
I don't think I ever saw that one.
It was a PlayStation 1 game, and it was like just the most creepy, eerie game. The entire world was empty, and you just sort of walked around in this endless, bleak place, looking for something and avoiding getting devoured by shadows. It was really weird. I never understood what I was supposed to be doing in the game.
Wait, I think I remember another horror game. I'll look it up.
I think there was one that was considered a pretty good one. I don't know about the sequels, but Clock Tower.
Oh, like the original one on SNES was really good. Okay, now I remember. Does anyone remember the Manhunt?
Wasn't that the one that was banned in Europe?
Yeah, like this guy kidnaps your family and forces you to make stuff films by killing people. And by the end, when you realize that he's already killed your family, you go after him, and he sends in this deranged guy wearing a pig mask and a chainsaw named Pigsy.
Jesus.
Yeah, like you literally have to saw off Pigsy's arms and let him fall to his death. Then you kill the villain with the chainsaw. That's ugh. Like I'm putting it on the screen. Hang on, putting it on in the monsters. Everyone look at the monsters channel. This is what Pigsy looked like.
You're going to show it for the viewers and everyone?
I'll probably put it up, yeah.
Okay. I'm sure
Look at the monster channel. That's Pigsy. Tell me that does not look creepy.
You know, speaking of horror, I'm actually writing my own creepypasta.
Oh, I'm actually working on that too. I had the first one the first one I was doing. I couldn't figure out where to take it, and it wasn't really fitting what I wanted with it. So I'm gonna not write it, but I'm gonna use some elements from it.
I've actually gotten pretty far in mine. It's called The Lonely Library.
Ooh. There are a lot of good creepypastas out there.
And I've got a couple of others that I've started. One, I don't have a solid name for it yet, but the working title at the moment is the Fiddler, and then the last one is a Heart to Steal.
The Fiddler, is he on a roof?
Nope.
I am actually working on I'm planning a series of creepypasta stories that kind of like in the same, like, they are going to be taken seriously. They will have creepypastas from every like story, but for the most part, like it's not going to be like a slice of life or like a doofy kind of thing. It's going to be taken seriously. I am going to say I did, out of respect for the creators of Tiki Toby and Cloutwork, I'm not using them, but I am using inspirations from them. Like they won't be exactly the same at all, but it's not the same characters. Like there may be you can see how he's a replacement for that character, but he's not the same character. Essentially.
Oh. Mine are more just like general cosmic sort of unknowable horror type deals. I don't really like monsters. Yes and no. Less obvious. Like Cthulhu himself I know they go unknowable horror, but Cthulhu is a very physical manifestation. You know what I mean? He's more of a monster than he is a cosmic horror. For example, I don't want any of the entities recognizable. I don't want you to be able to be like, oh, that's a demon, or oh, that's whatever, because that sort of just takes some of the horror from it.
Like we just recognize one of them, and it's just like Cthulhu. Wait, Cthulhu. Why does everyone keep thinking of Cthulhu? Like it's actually just someone else.
Yeah, because there is, when something's unknown, the imagination takes hold, and that's what gets
exactly. Like think of Slender Man. You have no idea what the fuck he is, or what his goal, or what he wants. You just know that he's after you, and you don't know the rules as to how to fight him.
Like, honestly, I think the best thing about him is you don't know what he actually wants. Like, does he want to kill you? Does he actually? What if he's just like a regular guy who's just looking for change?
That's the whole thing about real. That's the whole thing about real cosmic horror, though. You don't know what they want because their minds are unknowable. Like their goals are unknowable. They're beyond morality. They're beyond understanding. They're beyond good and evil.
It's like so. I remember somewhere in a cartoon that were like every time Slenderman appears, he's like, "Oh, my bad. I mean to scare you, but I noticed that you're running low on batteries. I got you. Take this out." He's like one of those guys who tries to sell you shit.
It's like, do you have time? I've been trying to contact you about your car's extended warranty.
Yeah, like he tries to sell people stuff, but every time he tries to get close to them, they just die of fright. And he's like, "Damn it!"
I'm also gonna narrate them. Aries actually gonna help me with some of the voices along with a couple other people.
Dude, if you ever need, can I please help? I would love to do stuff like that.
Sure. Currently there are only 3 characters in the story so far. I'm only about a couple pages in. But yeah, if I add any more characters, sure.
Yay!
I might just do a part series. Like if it gets popular enough, I might make a second one or a third. But at the moment, I'm just gonna start at a part. I'm just gonna pretty much end it at a part 1.
Yeah, I don't. For one of my characters, there is a character I am planning where he looks like he's like the way this guy is. He's the guy who goes around and is responsible for like any mysterious monsters or people going mad and becoming unique killers. It's because of him. Like it's a sense of like he injects them with something that causes them to be this way.
You know what made me laugh? There's a creepypasta about the person who's been making all the rule lists.
Really?
Every creepypasta about I found a list of rules. That's the joke. Like he's the one that's been making them.
Like he just appears in the story like, no, you broke the rule. You're supposed to be over here, not over there.
No, he complains like, why can nobody follow our simple fucking rule list? We leave them for you people, and none of you listen.
Like, run away. Yeah, you run away. Why do you keep going deeper into the woods?
Rule 7: don't look at the creature. Why did you look right at it?
Rule number 97: don't go off alone. Never. Rule number 97: never say I'll be back. You're never gonna be back after that.
If you're in a horror movie, just start walking like a dinosaur. It will break the tension, and also nobody in the first 5 minutes of a horror movie, gets attacked if they're walking like a dinosaur.
Rule 52: if you have a gun, you see the guy walking towards you, shoot him. Don't fumble with the gun or try to threaten him. Just shoot him.
If you're in a horror movie and you're a male and you've made any sort of jockey statement in the last 5 minutes, you're dying.
You're dead.
If you're female and you've removed your shirt in the last 5 minutes, you're also dead.
I have a theory that the people that exist within the horror movies, they don't have horror movies in the media they're in. So that's why they always make dumbass decisions.
Also, let's not forget in Supernatural, at the beginning of every episode, the first person you see always dies. Whether
I haven't actually seen Supernatural.
Or somewhere towards the middle.
The first 3 seasons of Supernatural are good, but it just gets too stupid down the line.
If you pick up Supernatural, stop at season 5.
Oh yeah, definitely stop at 5. After that,
how many seasons are there?
It's like 12, like over 10.
15.
There's 15.
15. Jesus.
Stop at season 5. I'm not joking. It has the perfect ending that's bittersweet and it's beautiful, and it should have ended there.
I will admit there is one episode in season 13 that I actually like. It's
Scooby-Doo.
the Scooby-Doo crossover.
Yes.
There's a Scooby-Doo crossover?
Yeah, I remember that one.
Yeah,
Shaggy loses his shit. Shaggy loses his fucking shit.
There's a fucking Scooby-Doo crossover, Jesus.
And then
really funny.
And then Fred has a full breakdown because, like, we could have been fighting real fucking monsters!
We could have been hunting Dracula? Are you joking?
Actual Dracula! We've been fighting these petty bullshit criminals when we could have been actually helping.
You also hear Daphne and Shaggy actually curse.
Shaggy loses his shit. I broke my arm, and they're like, "Well, you fell out of a second-story building." He's like, "I have jumped out of a biplane
Playing in a museum and was
up the third
fine.
floor.
Daphne over here having an existential crisis.
I remember when they introduced the Four Horsemen. You think like, oh, they're gonna be the big villains, but literally 3 only appear in 1 episode and they're defeated. Like what?
Well, most of them only avoided becoming big bads because they got overly cocky. Like every single one, except for Death. Death is just a badass the whole time he's there.
Death was badass.
And not to mention his intro in that song. I'm not gonna lie, I have that song on my playlist.
I remember the 7 Deadly Sins.
Oh yeah, they were very minor though. They weren't even like an arc. They were
that
like
was disappointing. Again, that's disappointing me. If they're big ass demons, why do they make them get them such doopy roles and kill them off so easily?
Well, here's the thing about power scaling and Supernatural. After a certain point, it becomes irrelevant. You know what I mean?
True.
Like when you're killing angels left and right. Like when the first angel shows up, he's the bad motherfucker that nobody wants to touch. Like Castiel showed up and killed everything, and nothing could touch him. But by season 8 or 9, they kill angels like every episode, like nothing.
I remember. I was writing my own story about the 7 Deadly Sins. Each one looks like a different kind of person. Like one thing I did kind of like is how the 7 Deadly Sins, they all have like a kinship in a way. Like they're not related, but they each have like their own kinship. And one of my moments is when I'm drawing Sloth. One thing I like, I also color code them. Like the way I'm drawing it is it's all grays and blacks, but each Sloth has a clothing that's their color code. Each sin has a color code where they stand out. Like one thing I like about Sloth is I wrote him as the kind of guy who keeps nodding off in the middle of conversations.
That's kind of like my next PC, Chillin.
It's like so did you get all that, Sloth? Sloth! What? You have anything to say for yourself? If someone was afraid of Barack Obama, would they be Baracknophobic?
Oh my god.
I'm gonna come up with that. That was some Game Grumps. What other good shows are there? Again, I don't. Again,
have you guys ever seen Burn Notice?
Burn Notice?
I've heard of Burn Notice. I don't really know what it is.
It's an amazing show about a agent who gets burned by the government. It's basically he gets fired, and since they can't take away your knowledge or your skills, they take away your resources and assets by freezing your accounts, leaving you stranded in a city where you have no access to anyone who could help you, and they leave you stranded so that you can't be a threat to them anymore. And he spends the entire show like doing various odd jobs because the fact that he can't legally work anymore because the government burned him. And like he gives all this really like it's all legit advice too, and it all like is like I actually had to Google some of it because I'm like, there's no way that would really work. And he gives like advice for fights. He gives advice for how to stop yourself if you're in a runaway car, how to avoid breaking bones on a fall, like stuff like that, like during the show. And it's just like an amazing show. I love it.
Now remember, anyone ever see Brightburn? The horror film. It was like, what if Superman took a left turn?
Oh, as a kid,
I know of it, but I never saw it.
It wasn't terrible, but they didn't really just do enough. That's my only complaint.
Honestly, again, I think the Boys show with what's his name, not
Homelander.
Homelander.
That is a good show.
Honestly, I think the comic book did it a little bit better, especially at the ending when he's like, "Fucking, you mean I went insane, murdered the president, took over the country, murdered everybody,
became a psychopath by accident because it was a clone of you."
Right. So yeah, he's like, "Yeah, you just did it because you're a fucking moron," and he just loses his mind. He's like, "No!"
Because in the beginning, he even admitted he always wanted to do good, but then he just got corrupted.
It's not even that he always wanted to do good. It's that he tried his best at it, and he just sucked because he was never trained. No one ever taught him, and so everything he did was just like naturally how he could handle it, and it just wasn't enough.